Sometimes I wish we could return to simpler times. You know, go out, just grab a club, run half naked and bonk every single creature that comes across. So today I'll just try that. This is Ooga Booga's journey to rekindle the first flame in Dark Souls. Let's do it. Upon waking up on the undead asylum, I fist fought everything I found before getting my first weapon of the run, the Trusted Club. Buckle up, cause I'll be using this for a while. Anyways, I kept advancing, talked to a weird guy and didn't understand a word he was saying, so I murdered him and I obtained the Estus Flask, one of the few objects that I can use. I plunged the asylum demon, then murdered it, and I was kidnapped by a giant crow. Man, Dark Souls is pretty weird, huh? I arrived at the Firelink shrine and there was a weird man there. Didn't understand a word again of what he said, so I decided to attack him, as that is just the way Ooga Booga goes about things. It didn't go well. Twice. And thrice. And the one after that. So I decided to leave, and I think he fell through a cliff while chasing me or something. But anyways, it is time to visit the undead berg. Interesting touristy hotspots I can mention, a cool bonfire, a merchant speaking random words that tried to assassinate me, holy shit, a dragon, and the Taurus demon. I don't know what Ooga Booga's horoscope was that day, but the Taurus demons was dead. But never mind, because I went past him, went down a ladder, and found a weird guy looking at the sun. So I obviously joined him peacefully for a bit. I later entered the undead parish, beat a black knight definitely on my first try, and had a tough time dealing with a giant boar, and stop it right there. Do you think you could win against a wild boar in a fight to death using just your bare hands? I think I surely win, but Weskis thinks otherwise. Tell us in the comments. Please tell us. Oh, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. It is gargoyle time. I think it's gargoyle time. Weskis, put the clip. The thing is, there is no way to strategize these fights. I just have to go in, grab my club, and bonk! Either get good or surrender. And I do not surrender. Anyways, first bell rung, another one to go. Oh, and I killed a bunch of NPCs on my way here. No big deal, just like snapping my fingers. And you know what else I killed? Havel. Havel. And it dropped a super useful ring that I cannot use because Ooga Booga does not understand what rings are. That's caveman logic for you. On my way to the copper demon I encountered this kind lady merchant, and since I did not comprehend any of her words, decided to send her with her husband. Fortunately, she retreated to safety and told me to fuck off. I am pretty sure this moment won't have any kind of serious ramifications that can make me fail the whole challenge, right? Well, who cares? The copper demon is down, and with it, I obtained the key to the depths. And after getting roasted by a dragon, I entered said depths to head to everyone's favorite place, Blighttown. On my way there, I had to deal with the annoying poison of the rats, which I couldn't heal because Ooga Booga doesn't know how, and face the gaping dragon, who shall be renamed as the Gaping Joke, because this fight is easy. Continuing my journey through the depths, I met a crystal knight at the gates of Blighttown. Once again, did not understand anything they say, so bonk! But this time, the crystal knight wasn't happy about getting murdered, so they consistently ended my life several times. I decided to let it rest for now and explore the depths some more, when suddenly I reached a section full of basilisks. You have to be really careful fighting against these beasts and the dangers they pose. But Ooga Booga didn't care because all Ooga Booga cares about is going bonk, and so he got cursed. This is horrible. With my HP cut in half, each boss fight was now twice as complicated if I didn't come up with a solution. The most obvious one was the lady merchant that sells antidotes, but, you know, that relation has switched now to it's complicated. So I had no choice but to venture into Blighttown as a cursed caveman wandering rotted platforms and dodging fire dragonflies, and boy, it was not fun. I'll save you the pain and suffering it implied by cutting directly to my fight with Quelaag, the spider, but before I must mention that I found a bigger club to beat people up with. That's an upgrade. A pretty serious one. Quelaag's fight was a major pain in the ass, mainly because I always started in an enormous disadvantage. By the way, this character reminds me of the Centaurus, but I think this doesn't have a name. So how about we come up with one in the comment section? We'll choose the best one and call it that from now on. Spider Taurus? Cinder? Karen? Who knows? Surprise me. Well, this doesn't matter now, because as you can see, fighting Quelaag while cursed and poisoned was a big no-no. And when I say a big no-no, I mean a big, chunky no-no. I decided to change my strategy and went back to the Firelink shrine to head to New Londo, seeking a priest whom I thought could end my suffering. After a whole bunch of lady ghosts ruining my life, I found him at the roof of a really old building and he was very kind to heal me, so Ooga Booga decided to spare his life. I traversed Blighttown again, this time uncursed, and went straight to Quelaag for round 2. Wasn't easy, but now it was possible. I defeated the Spider-Saurus weird woman thingy. See, I am not good naming this thing. I defeated Quelaag and moved on to rung the second bell, and now the path was cleared for Anor Londo. But before, welcome everyone to Sens Fortress. Our first participant of the day is Ooga Booga, who shall face snake soldiers, giant stone balls, mimic chests, explosives, and much more. Do not switch channel just yet. Just look at how this poor fella tries to reach the top of the fortress. And the best part of it all, on the top there is a gigantic iron golem waiting for him. It's brilliant, so despair-inducing. And as a one black and white bear once said, oh, Ooga Booga beat it. He beat the boss first try? Well, I guess that's the end of our show, Sens Fortress. Until next time. How beautiful is Anor Londo, right? The first time I arrived here, after countless grimy areas with murderers, undead soldiers and rats, I was awed by the beauty of the place. But today we're gonna come through like a truck because we've got shit to do. Let's go! Don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, be careful, don't fall, fuck. Alright, now we're talking. Let's stop by to say hi to the smith and enter the cathedral. Our favorite iconic duo await inside. Quick note, I obtained the Dragon's Tooth for the challenge, but it was too heavy and the damage output was similar to the Great Club, so I decided not to use it. So, the battle against Ornstein and Smoke was insane. I entered unprepared with just one Estus flask and 20,000 souls, because I just felt like it. It was brutal. Each hit cut my health in half, and I had near-death experiences too many times. Too many times! Somehow, I managed to kill them both in my first try. We cannot include the whole fight in the video, but I swear it is one of the greatest accomplishments in my gaming career. Take that, Orn and Smoke! After that incredible duel, I chatted with Guinevere and obtained the lore vessel, unlocking fast travel with it. I returned to the Firelink shrine and, of the 4 Lords of Flame in my hit list, I decided to approach Nito first. The catacombs were a major pain in the ass, but while crossing them I found Patches and I murdered him on the spot. Fuck you, Patches. Then I fought against the most difficult boss in Dark Souls. Pinwheel. This bastard is tough. I struggled a lot in this fight, but managed to win somehow. I guess I was lucky. The Tomb of the Giants was horrible as it always is, and I could not see anywhere past me. I found a route to Nito that was pretty consistent and decided to face the Grave Lord himself. And it went horribly wrong. Nito's blade intoxicated me and the skeleton minions were really annoying. After trying a lot, and I mean a lot, I decided to go elsewhere first and come back later. That elsewhere was the Duke's archives, which were surprisingly easy. I reached Seath the Scaleless in no time and ended the traitorous dragon on my first try. 1 Lord out of 4. Let's keep it going. On my way to the next victim on Ooga Booga's list, I was forced to put down Seath, the giant dog that protects Artorias even after his death. It was really hard to hold the tears. Rest peacefully, you beautiful creature. But anyways, the murderous caveman had to continue his journey, So I returned to New Londo and spoke again to the Red Priest that uncursed me before. I did not understand him, but when he realized, he used magic to translate to my rudimentary caveman language and explained then to me that he was going to unflood the city and that I should use the Ring of Artorias to walk on the abyss. I thanked him and went straight to the fight, using one ring for the first time in the run. The 4 kings were really easy to defeat after a couple of practice attempts, and with them dead, only half of the lords remained. After paying a visit to the abyss, I decided to go to hell for my holidays. I absolutely hate this area of Dark Souls, as it seems pretty obvious that From Software rushed it before they were running out of time and money. But nonetheless, shit had to be done, so I crossed hell just like Dante 600 years ago and went straight to the bed of chaos. You might wonder, but Lenda, how did you cross the lava? That shit can burn you alive. And I forgot to tell you that the Red Priest also told me, dude, if you are going eventually to hell, just keep in mind there's an orange ring that it's really important to use. So please, for the love of God, put that ring on your inventory. And I did just that. So that's how I got to the bed of chaos. And speaking of the bed of chaos, holy smokes, this boss fight is dumb and boring. After 2 or 3 dumb deaths, I reached inside of the bed chaos and one-punch man the hell out of it. Only Anor remains now. It is time for round 2. This was soul-crushing. After 3 hours facing Nito over and over and over again, I wondered if maybe this challenge was unbeatable at all. Or maybe I was not good enough, that was also a possibility. Maybe Ooga Booga's journey ended here, being another dead soul reduced to bones and forced to guard the catacombs forever. So with that feeling of dread creeping on my back, I decided to leave Dark Souls and come back the next day. And the next day, I beat him on my first try. Let's go, baby! Easy! Easy! Come on, Ooga Booga. Let's go get that first flame. After everything we got through, I reached my final destination, the kiln of the first flame. I ignored the knights that guarded the sacred place and went straight to its core, where Gwyn, the Lord of Cinder, awaited me. Gwyn was the toughest boss yet. He was quick, unforgiving, and his range was massive. I failed a lot of times because I was greedy, or I tried to heal at the wrong time, or simply I just couldn't keep up. However, I was so close to achieving victory that I kept trying, learning Gwyn's attacks with each defeat, and carefully designing a strategy that could make me win. After dozens of tries, I finally figured out how to face him and what attacks could be punished and what's not. And that was it. The fate of the Lord of Cinder was sealed. I conquered Dark Souls, Ooga Booga stumbled upon another bonfire, used it to rest, and accidentally rekindled the first flame. Or at least, that's what I like to believe. Today, we go into the most beloved game in the Soulsborne series. Dark Souls 2, baby! Following the footsteps of his grandfather, Ooga Booga Jr. quickly learned that the best thing a man can do in life is grab a big old club and go bonkers. And that's exactly what he did. Who needs tutorials where you can go directly to Majula? Ah, what a nice place. Let's chill with the homies, watch the sun fade behind the everlasting sea. Oh, wait, lack of club alert, lack of club alert. Oh well, guess we will find one on our way. In the meantime, let's beat every single enemy in the Forest of Giants with our bare hands. Right hook, left jab, gut punch, bam! And now everyone is piling on me. Rude. 1v25 seems unfair. But who cares, because we actually have found a merchant, and they sell a wood club. Hey, just for being so kind, I will murder you. What I will murder is the last giant. No Estus? Just a brink of HP left? Well, Ooga Booga Jr. has bigger balls than his granddad ever did, cause holy moly he just wrecked that boss. And speaking of that, hey, look, it's the Pursuer doing the big bird trick. How I am supposed to defeat this huge knight? Well, say hello to my little friend! Who put a fucking talking cat in Majula? Let's hop in Hyda's Ruin, and Ruin is what I'll bring, because there is no armor in this universe that can withstand the bonkness of Ooga Booga Jr. Not even if you are a Dragon Rider. Well, maybe if you're a Dragon Rider, you can survive for a little bit longer. Great, so now that's done, let's return to Majula and level up. Only Vitality and Strength allowed. That is my love language. Wow, this cave is so dark. Better light it up and be careful to not stand in my way, or the
fire will burn your flesh and cleanse your very soul.
Oh, what a cool looking outfit this NPC has. But I don't really care or understand anything she says, so I'll be leaving. Apologies. I have no time to spare, because the ghost ship has arrived, and with it my chance to beat the flexible sentry. What a cool boss! Its unique design and the fact the game does not reuse it at all makes it feel unique and distinct. And oh look, my weapon broke. But I don't give a shit, I can still fight with my fist. You will feel my wrath, I will destroy... Oh. Okay. Round 2, motherf... Now I am the captain of all these idiots. Take me to victory, if you please. Wait, this is not victory, this is the Lost Bastille. Ugh, I hate this place. And there is the Pursuer? I thought I sent you to hell with my heavy machinery. Well, since I am here, I guess I'll go through the place. And oh look, is another cool lady with a cool outfit. Ooga Booga Jr. does find wearing clothes in general a sign of weakness, but girl, that drip cool as f***. Since we're here, let's go take on the Lost Sinner. But on the way, let's say hi to this unique design that does not get reused at all in this game. And this one is one of the main reasons I think people hate on this game. One of the most important bosses of Dark Souls 2 is this. It's just an old dude with a sword. But not like the other old dudes with a sword in this saga. This one doesn't do crazy tricks. He's just kinda there. Well, 1 primal flame acquired, 3 more to go. For now, let's take a detour and talk to a weird guy in a wheelchair, and while we are at it, I'd be cool if Ooga Booga Jr. went to the Huntman's Coves to defeat and humiliate a couple of invaders and dispatch the Skeleton Lords. The Skeleton Lords, ha! More like the Skeleton Jokes, am I right, fellas? Alright? Man, what a shitty boss design. Dark Souls 2, please, step it up. After that little detour, we can go on to the next main challenge, the legally required Poisonous Swamp. Thank you, Dark Souls 2. Here we can find a lot of interesting mechanics and concepts, like these Pyro Witches that have a close range attack that casts instantly. Do you know what it also does instantly? On a live view, as my fellow Z-Gen would say. You know what they wouldn't say though? Subscribe to this channel. If you like it, then you should put a ring on it. Just saying. But yeah, it helps a lot, so be my guest. After climbing the shitty windmill for a while, I found the most disgusting, horrendous, dirty boss I've ever seen in this series. A League of Legends player. Ooga Booga Jr. put it out of its misery and kept climbing. Oh look, a chest! Hopefully it will contain a big strong club. Ooga Booga Jr., open it please. It is time to battle against Mitha, the baneful queen. Better avoid the poison, because Ooga Booga honestly has had enough. The fight was a little bit tense until the aggressive caveman found an opening, and then... wow, that HP bar goes down fast. After that Pursuit Simulator, we found an elevator that led to... an iron castle? Flooded with lava? On top of a windmill? Here's the second reason not a lot of people like this game. It's coherence. Environmental and scenario coherence, to be precise. None of this makes any sense. It did in the first one, it kind of does in the third, it doesn't in this one. Well, moving on. Sir Alone Knights are so fucking cool. They look like knights, but they also have somehow this ninja vibe to them. They're awesome and a little bit tricky if you're not careful. Here lies on our way the Smelter demon, and I had some personal beef with this motherfucker, because in my first blind playthrough of this game, this fucking thing killed me like 150 times. So yeah, it's time for revenge, right, Ooga Booga Jr.? Well, I guess we'll return later. Ooga Booga conveniently forgot the Smelter demon existed and went down a well in Majula to pay a visit to the rats, his original species. There we found Matty Healy, the Royal Rat Vanguard, and it was actually on the hard side of Dark Souls 2 bosses, as they managed to kill me a couple of times. However, Ooga Booga Jr. managed to come out on top and proceeded to make a deal with the Rat King. That deal involved traversing the Blighttown of this game, which is somehow worse than the original, and defeating the Rotten. So there Ooga Booga Jr. went, sneaking behind the undead and avoiding the poison darts. This part was actually really smooth for some reason, and even though the Rotten killed me a couple of times, I defeated him quite easily and earned my second primordial fire. Hey, wait, that's cool and stuff, but aren't we forgetting something? Oh shit! Fuck you, Smelter Demon! Fuck you, Iron Keep! I am the ultimate caveman, and I have a big, chunky club right now! After destroying the Smelter Demon, the Iron King felt like a pushover, and that was what I was talking about earlier. This is a really cool boss design, but all he does is punch the floor with his muscular arms and a couple of swings. Mechanically, this beast is a joke and the least epic thing I can think of. But well, at least we have gotten a great soul. Only one is left before we can go to Drangleic Castle. And speaking of that, to get to the Duke's place, we first got to go through the shaded woods and be careful to not get stabbed in the back. I got a great strategy for this magical forest, which mainly consists of running until I get away with it. It is also called the Secret Joester technique. After getting to meet the local people, Ooga Booga Jr. had an appointment with Nanchka, a weird scorpion lady that does not feel like Quelaag 2.0 at all. Anyways, at this point, even though Ooga Booga Jr.'s bongness power was off the charts, the fight was really close because I didn't have that many Estus, but luckily enough, I managed to defeat her with a brink of health, clinging on life. After entering the doors of Pharos that Nanchka was guarding, we returned for a bit to Majula to talk with the boys. Upon my return to Pharos, I discovered that there had been some strange error in the matrix and enemies were not moving. Huh. Weird. Anyways, I ransacked the place, and after depleting all the natural resources of Pharos, then the enemies realized they should be trying to stop me. Ooga Booga Jr. escaped to the Blight cove Sedora, and after defeating an entire army, he got tricked again by a mimic. He's not a smart fella, but we love him anyways. And then he opened a spider-themed door, and into the dungeon he went because it was his canon event. There we found Prowling Magus and the Congregation, which is a boss fight as shitty as the skeleton jokes, and there will be no more comments about that. After erasing 1/3 of the spider population and its mutant variants, I went for the queen, Freya, who is not also bigger, but she has a laser, people. A laser. However, as you can see, each bonk I provided dealt unholy loads of damage, and so the battle ended rather swiftly, with me as its winner. We lit the last primal bonfire and a weird amalgamation came to talk to us about non-important stuff. I don't know, something about the True King in the north, I can't even remember it. But with the 4 big chunky flames under my belt, I now could go pay a visit at Drangleic Castle and see Vendrick, the king that did something to the giants. I don't know, I haven't been paying attention, I'm sorry. After we arrived to Vendrick's place, we were given a full tour through the castle, and we were able to meet the attentive servants of the castle, and here are some highlights of the place. A weird room full of masks that threw poison, the fucking pyro witches that one-shot you if you are too close to them, and a portrait of the queen that was cursed. Pretty neat. However, the icing on the cake was meeting the actual queen, and I don't know, she seems sketchy. Once the tour has concluded, Ooga Booga Jr. went to tie some loose ends and killed a wyvern, an Ornstein wannabe, and gathered some items for what was coming. And what was coming? With my energies reinvigorated, I went to tackle the Mirror Knight, which has the coolest design, the coolest arena, the coolest atmosphere. Oh my god, I love this man, yes sir! I knew deep down he really did not wish to harm me, but he was actually protecting me from the following area, which is the shittiest area I've ever seen with these mages. I hate them so much, and the fucking demon of song, look at this ugly mother. oh my god, this place is horrendous, how can you deal with all of it? Anyways, after traversing that pocket version of hell, I ventured into the catacombs, where I found a guide that told me that we cool, but please do not bring light to the dead. He kinda lit, so I continued my journey without thinking about it too much. In the deepest part of the catacombs, I found the actual king, Vendrick, who has gone completely insane and just wanders around. I stole his ring and ditched the place without looking back. I'm sorry, Vendrick. With the king's ring in my power, I went to a creepy manor and ignored everything that was there to fight the guardian dragon, who proved to not be worthy of the dragon title because honestly, he fell too easy. But alas, Ooga Booga Jr. finally reached one of the latest areas of the game, the Dragon Area. What dangers could possibly await us there? Well, as you will see, lots. The Dragon Area had a lot of tough enemies and I had to be really careful to not be caught by surprise, as there were lots of narrow spaces with ambushed enemies ready to throw themselves at me and explode. I sought an audience with the big-ass dragon and he told me something about the memories of the giants and gave me a weird power. So off we went to visit the giants' memories, as if we were Leonardo DiCaprio visiting strangers' dreams. And once we had all the memories of the giants, the big-ass dragon wasn't useful anymore, so Ooga Booga Jr. applied capitalist logic and decided to end him. After becoming a renowned dragon slayer, I returned to the catacombs to put Vendrick out of his misery. Equipped with the giant souls, the monarch dealt less damage and had less health, but I had to be very careful nevertheless, because a sword slash of him could easily take away 3/4 of my health. With Vendrick bending the knee, I was now ready to claim the throne and become the Dark Souls 2. But before that I thought a trip to the 3 DLCs wouldn't hurt as much. I am going to really oversimplify what went on, but there you go. DLC number 1 was a series of temples where I died a lot because of poison and goofy ass traps and shenanigans, and then I fought against 2 bosses. The first one was a Squalid Queen. Squalid Queen? What the fuck is a Squalid Queen supposed to be? But anyways, I defeated Alana and then I went to face Sin, the slumbering dragon that seems to be made of stone. I defeated both of them in my first try, and if there were more bosses, I honestly couldn't be bothered at this point. Then I unfortunately went to DLC 3 instead of DLC 2 and fought Ava the king's pet for like 2 hours. That little tiger somehow was the toughest boss I have seen so far. After defeating him, I realized my mistake and backtracked to get to DLC 2. And honestly, I found DLC 2 great and really cool, and all the going up and down and back and forth in the forge was really interesting and exciting. As you can see, this wasn't my first playthrough of Dark Souls 2, but it actually was the first time I was playing the DLC. I didn't find Sir alone, but people have told me it is an amazing boss fight, but who I did find was the Fume Knight, and oh my god, this guy, I spent way too much trying to defeat him. It got to a point where I basically had memorized his entire moveset, and that was the key to victory. I am sorry Ava, but the number 1 spot for toughest boss goes to this dude. After grabbing the Fume Knight crown, I went to the Old Chaos in DLC 3 and fought the final DLC boss, the Burnt Ivory King, who proceeded to wreck and tore me into pieces. I went onto a side quest to bring my Ice Boys to the fight, and then it went kind of better, but I got crushed and defeated and destroyed and decimated and killed and murdered, and it all happened again and again and again and again and again and again. And so, after a couple hours getting no results, I decided to leave the Ivory King alive and become a fellow monarch. So, in the future, I may rebattle him. Therefore, I returned to Vendrick's castle and opened the last barrier that separated me from the Throne of Want, the final area of the game. I traversed the mist to find the Throne Watcher and the Throne Defender, a fearsome duo that got absolutely demolished by me. Holy shit, did I hit hard, these numbers are ridiculous. The Watcher fell first, and then I just had to roll from time to time and bonk the hell out of the Defender. When the Throne guys were defeated, a villainous silhouette appeared, and as it softly spoke about the dark, I realized it was the sketchy queen I talked to long ago. Nashandra, now a vessel for death itself, battled fiercely against me as she threw curses that lowered my health and dehumanized me. However, Ooga Booga Jr. doesn't deal in ifs, buts or maybes, and so, with a big old chunky, enormous bonk, Nashandra was destroyed. I was about to claim the throne when the fire amalgamation, Aldia, scholar of the first scene, emerged from the floor and decided that only a fight would resolve our dispute. What dispute? Ooga Booga Jr. actually doesn't know. But do you know what else I didn't know? Well, staying near Aldia would burn me alive. But hey, I actually discovered that rather quickly. And now with that information, I was able to dodge the vicious flames and prove the sorcerer that there is nothing sinful about caveman logic. And so, with Aldia defeated, the throne was at my grasp. But Ooga Booga Jr. felt weird. After pondering it for some time and celebrating victory like any of us would do, Ooga Booga Jr. decided to walk away. Light, darkness, mere simple concepts for the common man. Who needs those things when you have a piece of dirty rag and a big strong wood club? That's the path Ooga Booga Jr. would take. And so I would, honestly. Several generations have passed, moving a curse, and its bearer now is none other than Ooga Booga III. Beardy, hairy, muscular guy armed with a club that will off anyone who dares to cross his path. Just after he awakened, Ooga Booga went on a murder spree, killing everything that moved, including a weird crystal armadillo, and Gunder, the first boss that guarded the Firelink shrine. Wait, hold on a second. Hey, okay, please, British and American and other English-speaking countries, it's called armadillo, okay? Armadillo, not armadillo. Armadillo sounds so dumb. It's called armadillo. Armadillo. Lovely animal. Armadillo. Okay, back to the game. After that, our caveman friend went to the side to have a friendly discussion with another man on ropes, who had a real cool katana and definitely didn't kill me multiple times. Well, the lords won't come to perform their duties willingly, so it's Ooga Booga's task to club them into reason. That involves traversing Lothbric's wall, dealing with this fat guy, and having a club bonk match against Board of the Boreal Valley. And guess what? We won! So we get to explore town for a bit and talk with the locals and whatever these ladies with the big sauce and cauldrons are. Wanna get speared by a giant? Then check out the hottest spot in town. The only downside is the giant does not distinguish between an ally or foe, so, you know, proceed at your own risk. Every risk has its own benefit nevertheless, as Ooga Booga arrives to the giant's sacred rotten tree. What a weird boss design, right guys? But well, after smacking those vegetable balls enough times, the tree fell and our friendly caveman could proceed to get revenge on the katana guy. And hey, more dirty rags for him! After that pit stop, we continued exploring the undead settlement and made a big onion friend with whom we battled a fire demon that looked really scary but wasn't that big of a deal after all. After raising a glass to freedom... Okay, yeah, Hamilton still rocks. I'm sorry. They're releasing a Roblox game for... Why am I going off script so many times in this video? Okay, we acquired the big club and crossed the road of sacrifices to get to our next destination. The horrible creatures followed Ooga Booga to the very bonfire at the end of the road and murdered him and... Wait, what's that? There is 2 knights right there and they didn't help? Oh boy, I was pissed. I crossed again the road, lit the bonfire and talked to them to recriminate their lack of assistance. They acted like they didn't do anything wrong, and so I decided to apply big club diplomacy and tackle them both. They beat my ass, so I escaped onto the next bonfire, and there I was outmaneuvered by a dog. Yeah, it's sad days for Ooga Booga, man. Sad days for Ooga Booga. But I decided to go back to face Horus and Anri, and although they were not playing fair, I managed to punish their mistakes severely, and the Silent Knight was the first to fall. Horus? More like deadass. And Anri's dead too. That's for not helping me, you bastards. After that first degree murder, Ooga Booga III went to visit the Crystal Sage to show him that magic is not real and he should die. And after that, he went to pay a visit to the First Lords, the Abyss Watchers. And what a fight that was. The Abyss Watchers moved elegantly, sliding across the floor and doing a lot of acrobatics within their fighting style, whereas Ooga Booga just tried to club them down. The Embered Abyss Watcher caught me off guard a couple of times, but in the end, Ooga Booga managed to get out on top. 1 lord done, free to go. We entered the catacombs after our victory, and deadly maze full of traps, dead ends, and goofy-ass spawn balls that destroy everything that dares to be on their path. However, Ooga Booga toured the place very chilled, and arrived at the wooden bridge that separated him from Wolnir's chamber pretty fast. Like, I am not lying, it took 4 minutes to get there. After cutting the bridge, so those weird spooky scary skeletons couldn't pursue me, I went to the battle against Wolnir, also known as weird skeleton giant that loves jewelry too much. It's a piece of cake to beat him, so it didn't take much to do so. Skill issue, Wolnir. I'm sorry. Hey, by the way, isn't it funny that skill issue is an evolution from the original get good, which is an expression that was popularized with Dark Souls? Oh no? It is not funny? Well, that's awkward. Moving on, I guess. After returning to our home for a while to upgrade our club and battle a suspiciously lookalike of the Demon Asylum, Ooga Booga returned to the Catacombs of Carthus to try and reach an optional area. He tried to break the bridge to make it down there, but the direct route didn't seem to work at all. Instead, I opted to go down the bridge using it as stairs, and that took us to this weird place guarded by a giant worm. We went to the rear end to fight an old demon king, lots of beasts, basilisks that definitely didn't curse Ooga Booga just like they did to his grandfather once, and then I dueled a guy with a big sword. With all that done, I thought we were prepared to annihilate the giant worm, and turns out that I was pretty much right. After becoming the Worm Slayer, the Paul Atreides of Lothric, Ooga Booga III returned to the Crystal Sage just in case magic was real and detoured from the main path until he reached a gargantuan cathedral. Inside that place, there were not one, but 2 giants that actually weren't much of a threat, and the fearsome cult of the Daikons of the Deep. Perhaps Dark Souls 3 hardest boss fight, the Deacons of the Deep managed to kill me because I went in without HP nor Estus, and yes, they were a joke, I got them on my second attempt. Let's f***ing go. The Daikons had a doll with them, and for some stupid reason that Vativadya definitely knows of, that doll disables the magic wall of crap, and so Ooga Booga was able to freely explore the valley and get wrecked by its locals. Pontiff Sullivan seemed like a great menace on my first attempt, and I considered for a second that I may be a little bit underleveled, but Ooga Booga wanted to prove me wrong, and so he went bonkers on the Pontiff. Leaving Sullivan on his deathbed, or should I say his death floor, we continued our ascent through the valley until we found a circular elevator. Hey, this is where Grandpa lived! We climbed the stairs to enter the cathedral and found Aldrich there, who wasn't pleased that a mere caveman had arrived to its devouring creep. But Ooga Booga's diplomacy policy is known as the Big Club diplomacy, so he proceeded to enforce his demands onto the Devourer of Gods and returned him safely to his ashen throne. Okay, 2 more lords to go. Ooga Booga booked a trip for Ithil Dungeon, and there he got smoked by these Iron Mask ladies. However, the resilient caveman wanted to put up a fight, and so he chose the manslaughter route and proceeded to beat the crap out of everyone until he reached the profaned capital. Here, the gargoyle still whispers his name in the middle of the night, afraid the caveman is gonna come and murder their children. But for now, after a couple of mimics and fireball casting ladies, it was time to fight Yhorm. Yeah, that's not a lot of damage. Sure, I'll keep using the big club for 45 minutes to slowly drain his health and neglect to wield the obvious big-ass windy weapon designed to murder him. Okay, don't look for 10 seconds. Take this time to subscribe and stuff like the video, and you know the whole shebang. And oh look, we have defeated Yhorm without cheating at all. That's how convenient. It's awesome. It's great. Yeah, please move on. Please move on. Okay, so I was just teleported to a boss fight with the dancer of the Boral Valley. She grabbed me, depleted my HP, and then I proceeded to die. What the fuck happened? What happened is that this fight can be, and it usually gets done, before murdering our good old giant king. But Ooga Booga was entangled in other matters, so I guess it is now time to challenge the dancer to a waltz competition. 1, 2, dodge, 1, 2, dodge, 1, 2, dodge. Oh, this is easy. 1, 2, dodge, 1, 2, dodge, 1, 2, bonk. And the dancer of the Boreal Valley is now officially deceased. Just one Lord of the Flame is left, but before that, let's go pay a visit to Osiris, our friendly neighbor king. And he turned into a dragon. Weird. Well, we should put him out of his misery, and while we are at it, learn the ways of the dragon. It's a Mickey tool that will come in handy later. Be sure to not fall into a secret area of the game though. Heads up! Champion Gundir's boss fight is next, and man, what a fight! Incredible jumps, rolls, fierce attacks, and a ruthless enemy that won't stop at nothing. However, if there's one thing that Ooga Booga embraces is the power of physicality, and the only god he praises to is violence. Alright, and our reward is that now we are able to cure our maiden's blindness. I'm sure this won't become relevant in the nearby future. Anyways, Ooga Booga III kept going up to the highest tower of Drangleic's castle to pay a visit to the twin princes. But first I had to make a pit stop to fight the Dragon Slayer armor, and even though his attacks hit like a fucking truck, honestly at this point our beloved caveman could withstand anything and take it like it was nothing. After beating the sentience out of that armor, we kept climbing. Had to explain again to the Crystal Sage that magic isn't real, and fight a 1v3 that went, it's complicated. All of that was to have the opportunity to kidnap the princes and put them into their throne. And so how did that went? Yeah, not so great. It was particularly difficult for me to get Lorien's rhythm and attack patterns, and I ended taking a lot of damage early on because of that, which in turn made me go into the second phase unprepared. However, after a couple of tries I got better at dodging and could now fight Lothric himself with chances of winning. I even managed to get him down off his brother, and after he was trying to resurrect him, I dealt the final blow to them and carried the princess back to their place. We were now ready to go to the kiln of the First Flame alongside with our not-so-blind maiden, but before that I knew that I had to get something done in order to not have you guys ask in the comment section. So Ooga Booga III went through the ethereal dungeon again, found a cool place to chill, and faced into the ways of the dragon. I woke up on an ancient land, and amazed by discovery, I decided to, you know what, let's cut the crap. I slayed the fucking dragon and went to battle the Nameless King, which is the cool part of this secret area, so cut to that Weskies please. What an incredible fight. That is blocked by some shitty and stupid and not interesting dragon fight first. So everybody knows that the King of the Storm is a terrible fight, but man does it get routinary after dying to the Nameless King a dozen of times or more. Anyways, there's not a lot to cover on this part of the fight, so we'll talk about the big bit, which was the Nameless King. Fast, dangerous, electrified, and powerful. Never I had faced a battle so uneven, and yet it didn't take as long as I thought it would to bring him to his knees. Because, you see, the Nameless King can have the power of dragons and thunder on his side, but Ooga Booga III has something even greater. A wooden club and a fucking dream. And just like that, the Nameless dynasty came to an end after centuries of ruling the Dragon's Peak, and only one foe was standing between our cavemen and victory. And I have to say, the battle against the soul of Cinder is the perfect climax for the series, and it was honestly a really good challenge to end with. His signature combo was ruthless. I mean, if I got hit, I was basically dead, and overall he did punish me a lot. But determination and lacking a sense of value of my personal time, I grinded through the fight, until everyone that preceded me vanished. Ooga Booga kindled the First Flame, and Ooga Booga Jr. decided to seek his own path. So what was to come to Ooga Booga III? Well, he basically handed over the First Flame to his girlfriend, the Firekeeper, so they could run a business together. That's basically what happened. And so that was Dark Souls 3 as a caveman, and with that, the trilogy is complete. I'm thinking of making maybe an Elden Ring video in the future, but that will have to wait for now as we move on to other games. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope that we will meet again. Bye!